This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets. President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday delivered Russia's long-awaited response to a Western price cap, signing a decree that bans the supply of crude oil and oil products from February 1 for 5 months to nations that abide by the cap. The group of 7 major powers, the European Union and Australia, agreed this month to a $60 per barrel price cap on Russian seaborne crude oil effective from December 5 over Moscow's special military operation in Ukraine. The cap is close to the current price for Russian oil, but well beneath the windfall price Russia was able to sell for this year, and that helped offset the impact of financial sanctions on Moscow.
Oil prices edged higher on Wednesday on hopes of a recovery in fuel demand as China continues to ease its COVID-19 restrictions, though gains were capped by recession concerns and restarts at some U.S. energy plants shut by winter storms. Brent futures for February delivery rose 9 cents, or 0.1%, to $84.42 a barrel, by 0406 GMT. U.S. crude advanced 10 cents, or 0.1%, to $79.63 per barrel. Amid the optimistic market mood, both benchmarks hit their highest level in 3 weeks on Tuesday. The hopes for a boost to demand for fuel in top crude oil importer China come as the world's second biggest economy moves towards reopening its borders next month after 3 years of stringent curbs on movement and businesses to counter the spread of COVID.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Japanese companies inked several deals on Tuesday to receive liquefied natural gas, LNG, supplies, with a preliminary agreement lasting up to 10 years with Oman LNG and a 20-year deal with U.S.-based Venture Global. LNG supply has been tight since Russia invaded Ukraine and cut gas supply flows to Europe, leading European nations to import record amounts of LNG cargoes, straining global supplies and elevating prices. Top Japanese electricity generator JERA and trading houses Mitsui & Co. and Itochu Corp. signed binding term sheet agreements with Oman LNG for a total of 2.35 million tons per year starting in 2025, Oman LNG said on Twitter on Tuesday night.
U.S. oil refiners on Tuesday were working feverishly to resume operations at a dozen facilities knocked offline by a holiday deep freeze, a recovery that in some cases will stretch into January. An Arctic blast sent temperatures well below freezing and led to power, instrumentation and steam losses at facilities along the U.S. Gulf Coast. The affected plants process about 3.58 million barrels of oil per day, delivering about 20% of U.S. motor fuels. Refiners had been running near full capacity with strong prices for diesel and other fuels. Retail gasoline prices ticked up along the Gulf Coast this week, but nationwide prices have not been affected by the temporary outages.
Next, we have the top news in metal markets.
Benchmark London metal prices rose on Wednesday, with copper hitting its highest in 2 weeks and catching up with a rally in commodity prices spurred by China's move to reopen its borders, further unwinding COVID controls. 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange was up 1.5% at $8,475 a ton, as of 0254 GMT, after initially climbing to $8,481, its strongest since December 15. The bourse was closed on Monday and Tuesday for public holidays. China announced on Monday that inbound travelers would no longer have to go into quarantine from January 8. It will resume issuing visas for mainland residents to travel overseas also beginning January 8.
The price of gold in Egypt has risen to unprecedented highs as nervous savers seek refuge from a weakening currency and some companies export bullion to raise scarce dollars to fund imports, industry experts say. Figures from the Federation of Egyptian Chambers of Commerce's FEDCOC gold division show the price of 21-karat gold surpassing 1,800 Egyptian pounds, $72.73, per gram in December, what local media reports say is an all-time high. Prices have since fallen to £1,545, but it's still a jump from £673.5 a year earlier and a sharp premium versus the current $50 to $51 on international markets. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural. Malaysian palm oil futures ticked up on Wednesday, hovering near a near 4-week high on hopes of a recovery in demand after China eased COVID-19 curbs. The benchmark palm oil contract for March delivery on the Bursa Malaysia Derivatives Exchange gained 9 ringgit, or 0.22%, to 4,109 ringgit, $928.60, a ton by the midday break, hitting its highest since December 2. In a major step towards freer travel, cheered by global stock markets on Tuesday, China will stop requiring inbound travelers to go into quarantine from January 8, the National Health Commission, NHC, said late on Monday.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.